Thank you so much, Victor Seeger. That was our focus on the non-profit Christian organization Bread for Life International. It's time for us to delve into the heart of our topic of today. Really, it's 16 days against gender-based violence. We're on day 11 right now, and we are highlighting what people are going through. And there's no better situation than to have the story of someone who's experienced violence of different kinds, I must specify. Gender-based violence is unfortunately on a rise in Cameroun right now, with currently about 61 cases in 274 days. That is within this year. Those are reported cases because there are many people going through things they're not talking about. But there's someone willing to share. She's been sharing for a while, empowering other women from her experience. It may be a sad one, but today she is a heroine in the eyes of many. And she is, in our eyes today, a heroine because she's sharing her experience. She's a senior guidance counselor at GBHS Mbangong. She's also a founding president and CEO of Wellness Awareness Center. And 10 Mathilda Nguyen is with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Patience.
Thank you so much for making it here.
My pleasure.
Okay, so you have gone through a lot of violence in your past. How do you prefer to be referred to today? A victim of violence or a survivor?
A survivor.
Why?
Because I survived and I'm still living today using my experience and the lessons I learned from the violent situation.
Okay, let's
so I'm a survivor.
Yeah, I love that. It's a positive picture. It shows hope.
Yes,
and
sure.
Triumph over whatever trials you went through.
Exactly.
Let's just look back a little bit at your growing years. Where are you from? How was your family life like as a child?
I am from the Northwest region, Boyo Division, and come precisely. And I grew up in a family of large-size family of 9 children. I happen to be the fourth, and I grew up in a peaceful home, in a monogamous, peaceful home.
Yes. There were no traces of any violence of any kind.
Well, no.
Yes.
Yes. It's very true that it is now that I'm actually learning of the other forms of violence, but when it comes to physical violence, no.
Okay, let's go to you meeting your husband. When did that happen?
Well, we met in the university. That was my second year in the university. We fell in love, but it took us some time to actually got together. It was a 1-year-long process. We started off as friends because when he met me, I had someone in my life. And then he was there, he stayed with me, and he was actually a very good friend of mine. And he only told me his intentions after I broke up with the other person.
And you both got married?
Yes, and we both got married. It didn't really take us long because, as he said, that he just respected the fact that there was somebody in my life and that he has always wanted me. So when we broke up, it didn't take us long to actually get together and eventually just got married.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm sure for a while it was bliss. It was just happiness. There was a lot of understanding between you. But when did things change?
Well, for the first 2 years, I can say, yes, I was actually very happy in a marriage in 2 years, though there were still traces. Yes, but then I was happy until when we started wanting to have children, and it was a challenge.
Yeah.
That is when the tables turned, and all that happened for 10 years.
So what are some of the things he started doing?
Misinterpreting every action, misinterpreting and judging every mistake I make. Yes, so that is when I started realizing that things were turning the other way. It is true, there are some things I can't say because I don't have proof. So the things I talk about are the things I can actually prove. So they were actually the other side of the story that provoked some of the aggressive behaviors, but those are things we cannot prove. Because at
Did you suspect him for some things?
No, I wasn't suspecting him, but the environment was not really good. I can see some sort of spiritual challenges.
Okay.
Yes, because there were times he would always say, I don't know why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Yes, there were times he would come back to himself and he would be like, okay, I actually don't understand why I have to beat you every time. Yes, so you see, sometimes he regrets, but sometimes he cannot hold back.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what did he used to do?
Well, beating was actually the order of the day.
Yeah.
Yes, aside the psychological and the verbal assault, beating was actually the order of the day. Yeah. Yes, because at one point, everything I do, like the least mistake that I commit in the house, the least error, yes, the response was beating. Mm-hmm. Yes, slaps, kicks, and all of those. Yeah, beating was actually the order of the day. He can attest to this. There is nothing I say here on air that I lie. The things I say are the things that I have proof, and people can actually testify. And if he is true to himself, he will definitely attest to it. And this is 4 years after we separated that I'm sharing the story.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing it. You're not just talking about it because you want to. Yeah. It's because there are people watching right now who are going through it. Yeah. Now, the question I would want to know, I know many other people, is the first time he laid his hands on you, what did you tell yourself?
Well, to me, it was very normal. You know, you grow up in a society where culture makes you understand that beating a woman is a form of discipline. Yes, that is how our mindsets were made. We were made to understand that it is normal for an African man to sometimes beat his wife, which is considered, in quotes as I put it, a form of discipline. So to me, it didn't really ring any bell. You know, it was actually strange, not from my family, but I have seen it in other families, and to me, it was very normal.
Yes.
Yes.
But when did you suddenly feel like this is not normal? I am not going to bear this.
When it became exaggerated. It was abused. It was no longer a form of discipline, but an abuse, because it was so consistent, and it didn't really have a reason, a tangible reason, as I can put it. But it just, the disciplinary measure was just looking for an occasion, and not a reason. That is when I started realizing that there was definitely something wrong.
Like how many times would he beat you in a day?
Well, you cannot actually count, because he actually was always not around.
Yeah.
But each time he will return, he must have heard stories. Because that's one thing that actually baffles me, because it was never a problem between, like, Mathilda has done something wrong to the husband. It was always Mathilda has done something wrong to this person, you know. People talking, and you are always with people in the house. So sometimes, most often, before he returns from his from the journey, he will always come with some sort of stories, already narrated stories, that she has done this, she has done this, she has done this, she has done this, and then...
What was the place of the family in this? Did your family ever try to intervene, or his family?
Well, to my family, considering my family, I think I never really told them the story. Yes, the only time I actually told the story to my family was when I involved my kid brother, and that's when I ran to the south. I never knew where I was going to, but I sought refuge in one Pentecostal church. That is when I involved my kid brother. My mother was not actually aware of what I was going through. My father was not aware. Why didn't you tell them? First of all, I lost 2 elder sisters, and I was the only married daughter to my parents at that time. And telling them those stories was just to cause some sort of mental ill health. So to me, I was trying to be strong for my parents. Yeah. I never wanted to bother them, because I don't know, but I never bothered my family.
You're trying to protect them.
Yes, and coming to his family, that is where I always seek refuge, because each time things are not going well, I will always rush to his mother. They can testify that in a year, if I don't go to his village, it should be 5 times. Yes, the least, like, when I feel like, okay, I'm no longer comfortable in Yaoundé, or I have been beaten, I always take one way to his mother. Sometimes I even leave the house. They give me food money, I will just pay transport. I will arrive by Menda, I will call the mother that stand by the roadside, and then you pay my transport, because I'm coming and I don't have transport. And that is, I can say that is one mistake I made.
Why?
Yes, because it was, all of those stories were used against me, you know. I'm one truthful person. I'm very honest. So when I got to the family, I will always tell them my own mistakes. That, oh ma, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did. How can we redress this situation? Because I believed that she understood the son more than I do. Yeah. So I always told her the truth. I'm not that kind of woman that will rush to the family and condemn the husband. Yes. No, I always condemn myself first. This is the first time I'm actually telling the other side of the story, because I've always owned up to, I have always taken the blame. My friends were actually very surprised that I'm saying this, because I've always said, no, you should leave here alone, you should leave my husband alone, he was a good man, this and that. So that was the problem. So
but then you've learned not to protect the perpetrator and forgo yourself, because he's the one who was hurting you, and you kept giving or making excuses for him. Because you loved him.
Yes, I did love him, and to me, I had to protect his image, and I'm happy that I'm talking to the right channels. Yeah. Because sometimes you talk to the wrong ears and they mystify everything. Yes, so that was one of the reasons. I had to protect his image, I had to protect my marriage, my dignity, as well as we always claim dignity. That always leads us to our grave in most cases. So.
But then all of this went out of the window and you decided to leave. Why?
Yes, it went out of the window because at one point I realized that I had no space in that house. Yes, I realized that I had no space. Like the wife of the house, I never saw the woman in me. Considering myself as a wife of the house, I never saw the woman in me. And the torture was exaggerated, because the last thing that made me to leave was when he packed me out of the house. And that is the house, I don't want to open that page, but I stayed in front of the house for 3 good days. He will walk past, go out, walk past, go in. No water, no food, no bath. 3 good days. That is when I took the decision in me to leave. But then the uncle came in and took me in again. But I had already made up my mind. And that's when I sat them to tell them that, no, normally I have to go back and rest with my mother. I believe that there is something wrong with me, because they made me to understand that I was bad. And I accepted the fact that I was bad. So I accepted the fact that I was bad, and I was looking for solutions. And those solutions were no longer found in his family as I thought. They were now, I had to rush to my mom. So I sat them down and they said, my parents have to call. I actually made my dad call them, that no, let her come so that we can talk with her, understand what is happening. Little did I know that there was already a second wife waiting for me to leave. Yes, there was a wife that they had married, gotten her pregnant. They were just waiting for me to leave. So that was the last thing that, and I understood.
So it was almost like they had been trying to get you to leave.
Exactly. Yes.
That's
yes, they can attest to this. Yes,
that's really unfortunate. If you're not happy in a union, there are different ways to talk about it and let go of it than to hurt another person. Yeah. So today, how do you survive this trauma? Because this could make you be afraid of getting married again, of loving a man, of giving your all.
Unfortunately, I'm still full of love. I'm still very ready to love.
That is fortunately.
Yes, fortunately, because I didn't misuse the experience. I was not a saint. So I've learned from the mistakes. It's not an advert, but I believe I'm a better person. I've learned from the mistakes, and I believe I'm a better person. A better person because I can better prevent than cure. Yes, I can better prevent marital squabbles than seek solutions to already existing problems. And how I survived, I would like to say that it stands to the fact that I was a senior guidance counselor, and I had ample knowledge of coping strategies. Yes, so I had to cope, and it's equally determination, my sister, because when you decide to quit a marriage, you have to be strong. Singlehood is as challenging as that toxic marriage. So before I left, I had already made up my mind. My mind was conditioned. I know it was going to be difficult, but I was ready to face every battle. And I got myself involved in activities that would keep me busy all the time. Like especially in this domain of charity, humanity, and all the rest. Yes, that is how I got myself exaggeratedly busy, to an extent that people thought I was way out one day, but it was actually helping me. So it actually
healed you. Giving of your time, of yourself,
yes,
healed you from the void you felt inside of you.
Yes, yeah. yes. And I actually had to take my time, because people always ask, you said you were facing challenges with him getting pregnant. What about now? But you don't jump out of a relationship and jump into another one, because you will end up hurting the wrong person. Yeah, so I actually conditioned my mind in that aspect too. I am saying this because if you quit your marriage and you are not strong enough, you might be a problem in other marriages.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you've not healed.
Because you've not healed, and because maybe, you know.
Yes, you're still carrying with you a lot of pain, and you transfer into an innocent soul who is just waiting to love you.
Exactly.
So
and in that frustrated state, you might end up hurting other women in their marriages. Because when you quit your marriage, the line of people that will queue up in front of you are all married men.
Yes.
Yes. So if you are not careful
you break
to be defensive, you break other people's homes.
And we don't want that at all.
Exactly.
See, Mathilda, you're a brave woman to come here and share the story. There's so many women who are watching and they understand that they don't have to wait as long as you did before leaving. When you get those signals, no matter how many times he apologizes, he will still do it again. So it's important for you to let go of it.
Exactly.
Because that person needs to heal and you are not the healer of another person.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Now, if people want to get some guidance from you, some support, how can they reach you?
They can reach me through my email, 10mathilda@gmail.com. They can reach me via my telephone numbers, 6520-89892, 675-168440.
Thank you so much, Mathilda. We're going to head over to the newsroom in a moment, but not before we get this special report by Bernice Tabong on Plan International recently organizing an event to support the fight against gender-based violence, in line with what we're talking about. Take a look.
Challenges faced by the girl child in Cameroon are many. Assault, rape and forced marriages are just some of the difficulties that these children go through. As part of the 16-day campaign on violence against women and girls, and in view of protecting girls in the country, Plan International has organized a 2-day regional Girls Summit. The event, under the theme Invest to Prevent Violence Against Girls, brought together girls, parents, religious and traditional authorities, as well as other stakeholders. Girls at the forum were eager to get informed.
As a girl, I'll have to get married one day or the others. But from statistics, I realized that 69.5% of all girls who have been victims of sexual abuse have been victims by someone who was very close to them. That's their, let's say, either their sexual partner, their parent, or their husband. I, as a girl, am wondering if I have to get married one day in order to fulfill social standards. What's going to happen to me when I get married? What am I supposed to do? Will I one day fall inside a percentage of the girls being abused? If I don't want to, how am I going to avoid that?
The summit, the participants learned that they need to protect themselves. If girls are violated, they can also report the incident to delegations of women's empowerment or that of social affairs and other structures involved in child protection like Plan International. They could